Hey there, Tracy. I was just wondering how it feels to be so old and only getting married now. I mean, aren't you in your 40s now? Hey, Opal. You want to know how I feel about getting married at my age? Well, I guess I feel pretty normal about it, really. I mean, it was basically just a matter of finding a compatible partner who was closer to me in age. I'm not talking about that boring stuff. What I mean is that you should have been married decades ago. Don't you know that normal people get married in their 20s? So why in the world did you wait so long to do it? Surely you must know that people around you were judging you for choosing to live your life like this, right? I really don't think that my marital status has bothered anyone, and it really wouldn't be their place to judge anyways. It really is just a decision that needs to be made between my partner and I, and that's it. Yeah, sure. I should have figured that you would try and say something like that. I mean, after all, doesn't Zach manage the company that he works for? He's practically the CEO for all intents and purposes. But I just think it's so weird that you two ended up together. It really just doesn't make sense why he would choose someone as old as you, especially when I think he and I would make a much better couple. I really don't think that it's weird or that you and Zach even have all that much in common. Besides, I'm not marrying him because of his job. I'm marrying him because of the chemistry that we have with one another. Oh yes, I'm sure there's tons of chemistry between a rich, dashing CEO and an old maid like you. And I'm sure that it's not awkward at all that you're in your 40s and still just a regular employee. Not even management or anything like that. Look, I don't really know what all you're trying to get at here, but you should know that I really like my job. Oh, yeah, for sure. I bet you have so much at the office every day. What even is it that you do there again, though? Because most people, by the time they hit your age, aren't still in the same position they were in at the time they were first hired on. You know, I used to think like you when I was younger. I really did, but things change. I think as you get older, you realize that people have different priorities or goals and that that's okay. And the thing is that I'm just not really a driven career person. As long as I can live a happy life with Zach, that's really all I want. Wow, so you actually just came out and admitted it. You really don't want a better life or to go further in a career at all? You might as well have just come out and said that you've given up. I hope you know that everyone around you is laughing behind your back at how embarrassing your life is. I mean, to think that you're in your 40s and only getting married now, it really is just too funny. I'm sorry, but you should know that you're the only one saying these kinds of things to me. I really don't appreciate the way that you're talking about my marriage. Oh, no, I really didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I was just trying to give you a little friendly advice is all. Anyways, what kind of guy is Zach exactly? I would love to know about the guy who would marry you. You want to know about my fiancé? Well, he's a very kind, sweet, and honest person. Wait, really? Is he really nice and honest? Is that really all you have to say about him? Don't you know that those are just words people use when they don't actually know how someone is? Again, I really don't think that anyone but you actually believes that. That's just who he is. Yeah, I'm sure that your boyfriend is nice and so honest with you. I don't even know why I bother with you sometimes. Do you know that? But I think I'm finally starting to get the picture of just what kind of guy would lower himself to marry a woman well past her prime like you. Opal, what is the matter with you? Why are you being so rude to me right now? I mean, you're always like this to me, but now you're being worse. And I feel like I really haven't done anything to deserve this from you. Well, I really don't know what you expected. Besides, you were the one who sent us your wedding invitation. So you really should have known that sending it to your brother meant that me, his wife, would have seen it as well. You can really only blame yourself for this. Are you really saying that I should have been prepared to be made fun of just for sending out wedding invitations? In what world am I not going to invite my brother and his family to my wedding? How are you putting this on me? Oh, well, don't worry. We are more than looking forward to being there. It's been a while since I've had a good laugh, so I think your wedding is going to be just what I need. Seriously, what is the matter with you? Why are you being such a jerk, Opal? What did I even do to you? Sometimes I ask myself that as well. And then I remember that I just don't care and it's just fun treating you like this. Wow, that was seriously a terrible wedding. I mean, just absolutely awful. Is that what it's like to be a loser like you? Wow, you mean even after the wedding is all over and done with, that you still can't find a single kind word to say to me? What did I do to you to make you want to treat me like this? Do you realize that your words hurt my feelings? Well, I'm sorry that you're too sensitive to hear the truth, but it really is all that I'm telling you. Wouldn't you rather I be real with you instead of tiptoeing around your feelings? Besides, if anything, I was the one that had to suffer through that awful wedding. You have no right to complain to me. And just what part of the wedding was so horrible for you? What did you have to suffer through, huh? What specifically upset you so much that you have to act this way? Well, I just mean, it was just such a poor wedding. Like, are you broke or something? Are you having financial troubles? I was thinking that anyone with any amount of means would never be caught dead hosting a lame wedding like that. But then again, all the other guests there looked super poor as well. You mean you're not content insulting me? You have to go after my friends and family too? What is the matter with you? You're right. I guess I really just do live in another world. I deal with CEOs and company presidents and boards of directors all day. I forget that even the poor people need to have their little moments of joy too. So thank you so much for reminding me of how the other half live and how my life could have been if I didn't make the right decisions. Okay, Opal, I really don't get what your deal is. Are you just trying to get me to dislike you? Because it's clear you don't like me, but I don't get why you can't leave me alone. What are you talking about? I love my sister-in-law. I'm sorry that you don't like what I'm saying, but it's just my opinion is all. You shouldn't take it so personally. You always try and hide behind being honest whenever I tell you that I think you're being disrespectful. Why even interact with me at all if all you're going to be doing is acting this way? If you keep this up, I might go and talk to my dad about this. Wow, did you seriously just threaten to tattle on me for this? You really are a child, do you know that? But whatever, do it if you want. I know that I can make your dad take my side over yours. Besides, he's a good-for-nothing jerk just like you. So I don't really care if he does get mad at me, since he's a nobody just like you are. Did you really just call my dad a nobody? Of course he is. He contributes nothing and just has that dumb smile on his face. I doubt that you saying anything to him would faze him one bit. So maybe you should just back off and learn your place. Don't you ever threaten me again unless you actually know what you're talking about. I know for a fact that no matter what you say to your dad, he isn't going to take your side at all. You really think that you know my dad that well? Have you seriously not talked to my brother about our dad at all? Why in the world would I need to hear what your dad is like from your brother? You think I want to hear boring old stories about some tottering old man? I know that he used to run some kind of company, but that was decades ago now, and now all he is a husk of his former self. Wow, Opal, you really have no idea what you're talking about at all. I mean, is that really all you think my dad is? I think you should know that you're not making the point that you think you are right now. You just keep running your mouth. See if it changes anything. At the end of the day, you know that there's nothing you can do to me. That's why you had to threaten to go to your dad in the first place. You really are just so pathetic sometimes. Did you know that? Well, that's because it's obvious that you're going to refuse to listen to anything I have to tell you. So I know that I have no choice but to appeal to high authority. Oh, please, don't try and justify this to yourself. The truth is that you don't have any bravery at all, but whatever. I guess I'll see you at the reception dinner later.
Hey, Opal, I know that we've talked about this before, so I'm not sure why we're having this conversation again. But I thought we agreed that you would lay off Tracy. Can you please stop bullying her?
What are you talking about? You think that I'm bullying Tracy? I'm doing nothing of the sort. Are you sure that Tracy isn't just making up stories and over-exaggerating like she always does?
I really don't think that's what's going on. I mean, she came to talk to me about this, and that isn't something she usually does. You see, she wouldn't come to me with a problem like this unless she was actually going through it.
But that isn't fair. She can't accuse me of bullying when all I'm doing is telling her the truth. If she can't handle listening to other people's opinions, then that's her fault.
I really don't think that it's that simple. In fact, I think there are plenty of cases where it can be better or more polite to just keep opinions to yourself.
I'm sorry, but that just wasn't how I was raised. Maybe that's how your dad raised you, but I was taught not to lie to people, especially not when they're nobodies who need your advice.
Nobodies? Wait a second. What do you mean by this?
Oh, come on. You know that you're not like your family, don't you, Paul? You're not a failure like your dad or a loser like your sister.
Wait a second. What do you mean by this? Why in the world do you think my dad's a failure?
Again, Paul, I'm only telling you what I think you need to know. I'm only telling you the truth. And the truth is that your dad is a nobody. He's a loser. Not only that, but he's living off of his son's salary like a little leech. Do you really not find that sad at all?
You think he's living off of my income? Where did you get that idea? I really don't think you know what you're talking about.
Oh, come on. I know that he has some kind of job that he works out. But we both know that he makes nothing compared to you, right? I mean, you're a literal CEO of a company. Do you really not see what I'm trying to tell you?
Opal, I was just curious if you were still thinking of coming to my family reunion that was going to happen tomorrow.
Well, I can certainly be there if you're going to be there, but why do you bring this up all of a sudden? What does all this have to do with anything?
Got it. Well, then I think that we should go. I can explain everything to you better in person tomorrow.
Okay, then, that sounds perfect to me. I'll try and think of some things that I can say to make your dad realize the kind of life he's living too. But don't worry, Paul. I want you to know that no matter what happens, I'll always have your back. Hey there, Tracy. Is it really true that you're pregnant? I guess someone must have let the cat out of the bag for you, but yes, I am. I was planning on making the official announcement today. But don't you think that's really bad? I mean, you're 42 and going to be having a kid? I really just have no idea what you're thinking with that one. And just what is wrong with me having a child at my age, huh? What more could you have to say about my life? Oh, come on. Are you really going to pretend like you don't know what I'm talking about? You're an old woman trying to have a baby. It's just horrible. I mean, aren't you embarrassed at how bad this makes you look? I mean, I really just don't think that I could live like that at all. And I certainly wouldn't want my family to know about this.
I really just can't stand you. Do you know that? You really have got a lot of nerve.
Oh, Norbert, I almost never hear from you. What is this all about? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. I really just can't stand the way that you act around my family. Just how long did you think you were going to get away with making fun of my daughter like this, huh?
I'm sorry, sir, but it's not like I'm trying to make fun of Tracy or anything like that at all. I just think that she has a right to know my honest thoughts on her decision. I mean, are you really going to tell me that you have no comments or thoughts about your daughter having a child when she's 42?
I don't think that it's either of our business to judge that personal of a decision. And the fact that you feel the need to butt into everyone's business and give your unsolicited opinion is why I can't stand you. I want you out of here.
You want me to leave? As in leave this house? I'm sorry, but I really don't think that you have the right to kick people out of here, Norbert.
Well, you'll find that you're very wrong about that. I own this house and I'm telling you to leave.
Oh man, I don't know whether or not I should cry or laugh right now. You really are a pathetic old man, you know that?
All right then, if this is how you're going to be, then I guess I won't bother holding back with you. I'm going to give you one last chance though. All you have to do is apologize and leave this house.
And just why should I have to leave this house? Because some delusional old man orders me to? You do know that it's your son who is paying for all of us to live in this house, don't you? If you don't like how things are around here, then you can leave.
All right then, I guess I'll just have to talk about this with my son. In the meantime, you should think about what you've done.
Hey, Opal, are you there? I just wanted to let you know that you really should listen to what my dad is trying to tell you, okay? Please just apologize for what you've done and he might still be able to forgive you. Wait, what? You really think I'm going to listen to you try and tell me how to talk to your deadbeat freeloading dad? Don't you realize that your brother has all the power here? He pays for the house, he pays for utilities and food. Your dad should be listening to him, not the other way around. No, Opal, you're wrong about that. My dad is one of my brother's company's largest investors, and he invests money every single month. Wait, what? What do you mean by that? I mean that if he didn't have my dad's support, Paul's company would be so deep in the red that he'd have probably gone bankrupt already. I mean, you do know that he inherited this company from my father, right? And my dad inherited that company from my grandpa. Wait, what? But I had no idea. Paul never told me any of this at all. Well, that's because Paul still has his pride, and it gets especially strong when it comes to the company. So I'm not surprised that he never told you the full story behind how he got to where he is. But then again, I'm surprised that you didn't know better considering the fact that you help him run the business, don't you? I mean, I'm actually really surprised that you didn't already know all of this. Like, how could that even be? But I didn't know any of that. He should have told me. I desired to know. Well, then what do you know? I mean, how do you help someone manage a business and know none of this? Shut up. You don't know all the work that I put into the company. But what am I supposed to know? I had no idea that your dad still had so much sway here. Well, then you should also know that my dad is having a little chat with Paul right now. He's probably telling him that he feels like he has no choice but to stop investing into the company. I wonder how Paul is going to react when he hears why it is that my dad suddenly feels that way. Wait, no, this can't be happening. Please tell me this is some kind of joke. Norbert, are you there? I just wanted to say how terribly sorry I am over this little mix-up we had. I mean, I just had no idea that you were still a principal investor into the company. I didn't even know that you used to be president, but I realized the mistakes I made and I am sorry.
Excuse me? What are you talking about?
What do you mean, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the conversation we were just having over text.
You kept going after my daughter, putting her down, making her feel awful. But are you really trying to say that that's the reason why I would stop my investing with Paul?
Well, no. I mean, is that the reason why you would?
I just hope you realize that before you come to apologize to me, that there's someone else you need to apologize to first.
Of course, I promise that I'll go and speak to your daughter as soon as we're done here.
Well, I'm afraid that it's probably too late for that to happen anyways. So let's just go back to talking about your favorite subject, money.
Money? You mean you want to talk about your investments instead?
No, not that. I've already decided to stop those. I talked to Paul about it, and he said that he understood.
Wait, you mean you're really going to stop investing into Paul's company?
That's right. And nothing is going to change my mind about it, so don't bother. But what I mean is the money that you were going to have to pay for your lawsuit.
My lawsuit? What do you mean by that? I don't know of any lawsuit.
Well, you're about it. After all, if you're really sorry for all that you've been putting my family through,
I really am not sure at all what you're talking about.
You'll just pay now or you won't have to make a big fight of this. I'm talking about the horrible abuse that you've been subjecting my poor daughter to. You can either pay us to compensate for the emotional damages now, or we can do this the hard way.
You really expect me to pay you for the things I said to Tracy?
That's right. And not only that, but you should know that Paul is going to divorce you as well. So don't even think of going to him for help. You're all on your own, dear.
Wait, what? What do you mean that Paul is going to divorce me as well? I don't understand what's going on here at all. What is this?
What do you think it is? Paul, my son, is going to divorce, that is, to end a marriage, you, my daughter-in-law, his wife. If you want to know more about it, though, you should go and talk to Paul yourself.
But then, he would only ever do this if you said something to him. You're making him divorce me.
Oh, I didn't do anything of the sort. But I did tell him that neither I nor his sister could stand being around you anymore. I told him that if he was going to stick with you, that we will probably have to start seeing much less of each other. But just go and talk to Paul about this. And don't bother trying to use your crocodile tears on me. They just won't work.
But I don't understand what's going on here. How did it all come to this?
Well, I'll say one thing to that. Paul realizes that you were using all of his money without his permission,
What do you mean by that? I have no idea what you're referring to there.
Oh, please. You talk all this big talk about helping Paul with his business, but really you just care about the money. But I would rather tank the company that my father started, that I inherited and ran for decades, than let you get your mitts on it.
Wait, Norbert, please. I think there's been some kind of mistake here. I mean, I had no idea about all this history with the company or that you were even involved with it. Besides, don't I have a right to use the money from the company as well?
Why? Because you're a co-manager with my son? Then again, I suppose you really are, aren't you?
That's right, and that means that I have as much right to the company money as Paul does. We've been through so much to get the company to where it is today.
I see. Well, then I suppose that means you'll also share in all the debt that Paul has from the business then.
Sorry, debt? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. What debt are you talking about exactly?
I thought you were helping my son run the family business. You mean to tell me that you really don't know about all the debt he's in despite running it together? Didn't you know that you two were supposed to share in the highs and the lows? The profits and the debts? Oh well, I suppose you'll find out about all of this soon enough.
In the end, Opal talked to Paul, and Paul told her all about the debt that his business was in and why he was relying on his father's investments to keep the whole operation above water. Opal, who claimed to be a co-manager and was, on paper, actually did very little work and used company funds for personal uses. As Paul began to close down the company, he ran a final audit and saw all of Opal's embezzlement. He sued her for the losses, and she was forced to pay a huge fine. My dad kicked Opal out of the house after Paul told her that he wanted a divorce. Now Opal lives in a tiny apartment by herself, working multiple part-time jobs, and barely making enough to afford her debt repayment. As for me, Paul apologized for all that Opal had put me through. I told him that it was okay, and that I was just glad to be rid of her now. As for my father, he took a while to get over being upset at Paul as well, and told him that if he could think of a great idea for a business, that he would help him with an initial investment. It just goes to show you how important family is and how vital communication and empathy is for a successful relationship, business, or any other kind of interaction. I only hope that Opal has finally learned her lesson and comes out of this a better person. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.